TBC News, our top stories. Tanzania and Uganda to boost trade.
This forum is where we, discuss any barriers that could be existing.
African Union aims to create a prosperous Africa.
Leather, finance, insurance, women in business.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news on our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has called on business communities in Tanzania and Uganda to carry out studies on goods and services generated by the two countries in order to boost trade and develop a robust economy in the region. Speaking at the opening of a two-day business forum between Tanzania and Uganda in Dar es Salaam, Majaliwa says the government will continue to improve transport infrastructure in order to accelerate business atmosphere in the region. Rehema Sababili has more.
More than 300 business persons from Tanzania and Uganda have gathered here in Dar es Salaam for a two-day business forum which aims to seek for business opportunities and fostering economic growth in both nations. Addressing business people at the forum, Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa says the Tanzanian government is committed to accelerate business activities in the region.
We have completed the asphalt road from Bukoba town to Mtukula, Uganda, and we are in the process of building a new road from Karagwe to Uganda. We already have highways that enter and exit Uganda. The goal is to improve commercial activity from Tanzania to Uganda through the road network. On his part, Ugandan Minister for Foreign Affairs John Mulimba calls on business communities from Tanzania and Uganda to identify potential areas for partnership and encourage joint ventures between the two countries' companies.
As governments, we remain committed to creating an enabling environment that will facilitate businesses to flourish in accordance with our bilateral and EAC protocols and agreements. As members of the EAC, we have registered many positive strides with achievements of the Customs Union 2005, Common Market 2010, and the signing of Monetary Union in November 2013 that have facilitated reducing transaction costs, creation of larger markets, stimulating investment and industrialization, and social development, resulting into addressing issues of peace and political stability, as well as tariff and non-tariff barriers.
Some participants say the forum is giving them a chance to engage in meaningful discussions and forge new partnerships.
I see it as a platform that enriches both countries and bring that brotherhood spirit of collaboration to the next level.
What I find very helpful about it is that we're able to meet different people across the board and be able to understand the needs of the Tanzanians as well as the needs and what we can do as Ugandans to work together.
So this forum is where we, discuss any barriers that could be existing. We also showcase the opportunities for building the trade, and we bring together the two peoples so that we can multiply the opportunities.
We are ready to do business with products that provide opportunities for all of us, connecting people to opportunities. Our core focus currently is the bus, and we have them. Data
show that in 2023, Tanzania's export to Uganda stood at $310.67 million, while Uganda's imports to Tanzania were worth $145 million. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Rehema Sababili, TBC News.
The Tanzanian ambassador to India, Anisa Mbega, advises Tanzanian businessmen to take advantage of various commercial opportunities that are available in India. Speaking to TBC News in an exclusive interview, Ambassador Mbega says Tanzania continues to cooperate with India in various economic aspects, urging Tanzanians to use business opportunities available in India.
Tanzania and India relations has been strengthened for years. Over the decades, it has been improving year by year. And following the state visit of our President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, which was held in October 2023, the visit resulted into elevation of our relations between Tanzania and India into a strategic partnership relations. Now, the strategic partnership relations will help between the two countries to work together on many areas, including trade, including investment, on areas such as defense cooperation, maritime security, development partnership. As you would recall, India is one of our top strategic partner in terms of development assistance.
The trade balance between Tanzania and India is imbalanced because Indonesia is exporting enough to
India.
India is exporting enough to Tanzania, and like us, we export a little to India. So could you tell us what should be done now to improve Tanzania's ability to export so much business in India?
India and Tanzania, we have a lot of potential to do business in India. There's a lot of opportunities there which we can tap in and get the benefits for our people and for the country as well. What is needed to be done on our side as Tanzanians, we need to improve our productivity and production capacity, and we also need to have some sort of a data bank which can tell us how much we have for the exports. Like if someone, a business person is requesting for a certain percent or a certain amount of goods to be traded with the counterpart in Tanzania, then most of the time we don't have that numbers. And this is really a major obstacle. And I believe this is not only in India, but in most cases in many countries. Like most of the ambassadors, the Tanzanian ambassadors accredited in other countries are facing the same challenge.
Tanzania-Zambia Dingtai Mining Company is planning to invest more than $200 million at a gold mine in Mgusu, Geita region. Here is Nazareth Ndekia's report, as read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Geita Regional Commissioner Martin Shigella inspecting the mining area where early-stage mining activities are taking place. Small-scale miners who have licenses to work at that area say that they have been operating for the past 10 years using poor instruments, so they are ready to work with the new investor.
At that time, the small-scale miners would not have been able to conduct their activities by using this license due to the various underlying factors.
Acting Mining Officer in Geita, John Maganga, says professional assistance is available legally for small-scale miners.
This project will show that Tanzania is a nation that cooperates and has unity. We should also like to thank the Regional Commission for its efforts and the support. We have been able to help them follow all mining procedures. The only thing left is to make a follow-up of some permits.
On his part, Geita Regional Commissioner Martin Shigella has urged leaders to cooperate with investors.
Ukimwona mwenzako amepata fursa, usimwonee wivu. Na wewe nenda katafute leseni,
Do not be jealous when your fellow miner gets an opportunity. Work hard, get permits, do research. There are various investors who are ready to invest in this sector.
He says citizens should use investors' opportunities by having licenses.
Kenya Airways auxiliary company, Jambojet, is set to launch a new low-cost airline route between Zanzibar and Mombasa. The move is expected to boost tourism industry in Tanzania. Now, to understand how and why Zanzibar, my colleague Nasser Kingu caught up with the head of sales and marketing, Cynthia Otoro, who is in Tanzania on behalf of the Jambojet Chief Executive Officer for the final preparations of the route. And here she starts by elaborating what the route means to bilateral relations between Tanzania and Kenya and how it will enhance the tourism sector.
Tanzania is one of the biggest source markets for Kenya, if you look at the African market, and we are looking at boosting that particular traffic. Likewise, Kenya is one big source market for Tanzania in terms of arriving tourists, and we're looking at boosting that particular traffic. And whenever we go to a new market, we look at not only serving the existing market that's already flying, but we're looking at expanding the market, and that's what we've been able to do even in the domestic market that we've been serving. Our flyers currently, 44% are first-time flyers. So imagine if we got 44% of the Tanzanian market that's not currently flying, and we grow that by 44%. That will be an incredible story to tell. It could be 10 years down the line, but it will be an incredible story to tell.
Running low-cost airlines, especially in emerging economies, can be challenging. I heard in your presentation you mentioned about the year 2022, 2023, you were the #1 in Africa as a low-cost airline, and maybe in 2024 as well. How promising is the industry in East Africa, and what do you think have been the difficulties?
I mean, if you look at the global market, Africa is one of the most populous continents. However, we also have the least number of people who are flying. So imagine if you're able to grow the number of people who are flying within the continent of Africa. And there's been so many conversations around opening up the skies, you know, SATAM and all those conversations. And we're looking to be part of that conversation. Actually, if you look at the other markets, the growth in those markets, they are driven by low-cost carriers.
And this new trip, how do you think is going to contribute positively to your growth projections?
I mean, Zanzibar, we're only launching Zanzibar this year. We are very careful with our investment, with the routes that we choose to operate. In fact, we chose Zanzibar because we could already see the potential, and we know the potential that exists in Zanzibar and the route between Zanzibar and Mombasa. We are looking at going not only from Zanzibar to Mombasa, but also maybe go from Dar es Salaam to Zanzibar, maybe go deeper into Arusha, you know, to Mombasa or to Nairobi. So we are definitely we're starting with Zanzibar, but we are looking at expanding definitely as we go. We know we'll see more opportunity in the market, and we are willing and ready to expand.
As the world celebrates Africa Day on May 25th, it is important to highlight the continent's progress driven by the African Union, which aims to create a prosperous Africa. The potential of Africa relies greatly on the integration of its members within the African Continental Free Trade Area. Already, the foundations for internal trade have been laid for the single market, with successful economic blocs like the Southern African Development Community (SADC) and Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa (COMESA). Here are more details.
The most recent intra-COMESA consultation on the Mauritian soil was last month. It made it possible to include in the integration process the Mauritian leather industry, the digital transformation of the country, and its competition laws. The framework institutions here being the African Leather Institute, the Competition Commission, and the COMESA Business Council.
This is an opportunity for us to engage business and also private sector. But basically, it's to have that interaction between the COMESA institutions, which are various, and spread across various sectors: leather, finance, insurance, women in business.
COMESA is one of the 8 economic communities that promote African economic integration, with the SADC, They bring together around 30 countries from Southern and Eastern Africa. Recent assessments from the African Union demonstrate that the two blocs are delivering good results in the areas of financial, commercial, infrastructural integration, with SADC having been more successful in environmental integration by adopting a strategy for green economy and another for sustainable development and climate. And COMESA better ensures at this stage the free movement of people. Mauritius, as a member, offers visa waivers to citizens of the bloc.
Over the years, these two blocks have become very important for us because our exports towards these two regions is increasing every year. SADC has become important for textile and COMESA for sugar and financial services. Recently, we have an operator who has invested in supermarket in Africa.
These achievements of SADC and COMESA, like all regional blocs, constitute an important basis for the creation of a single African market. The emerging continental free trade area offering more long-term prospects for Mauritius. The country, whose exports have increased from 18 to 27 billion rupees to SADC and COMESA over the last 10 years, wishes to capitalize on these favorable conditions for its commercial complementarity with the two economic blocs.
Pour le COMESA et SADC aussi, c'est presque 100% affranchi des droits de douane.
For COMESA and SADC, it is almost customs-free, enabling our operators to export to these markets, and their clients there do not pay customs. Both will keep their advantage. The continental free trade area is not necessarily more flexible. The objective is to keep SADC and COMESA, even if there is a unique market at the level of Africa due to existing advantage.
In almost 30 years of existence, regional trade of the two regional blocs has grown. Intra-COMESA trade today amounts to 7% of its overall trade, and that of SADC represents 23% of its trade with the rest of the world.
Now from Mauritius, let's come back to Dar es Salaam, whereby the Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Chen Mingjiang, says China will continue to cooperate with Tanzania in various fields, urging young Tanzanians to learn Chinese language so that they can get employment opportunities provided by Chinese investors. Mingjiang made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the Chinese language proficiency competition for college and university students. Peter Mganga reports.
Chinese language is one of the most influential languages in the world, whereby, according to world data, about 1.3 billion people worldwide speak the language. Because of its importance, people are learning it so that they can compete in the world market. Speaking at the Chinese language proficiency competition held in Dar es Salaam, Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Chen Mingjiang, explains how China and Tanzania cooperate in economic diplomacy.
China has been the largest trading partner of Tanzania for 8 consecutive years. Last year, the total trade volume reached $8.78 billion, which make China the first and a big gap with the second place. And China is also the biggest source country for investment in Tanzania, and which brought around 150,000 job opportunities to Tanzania. Here I should say, learning Chinese better, then you are not only be more capable, but also get more opportunity to get the job.
On his part, the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic at the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor Bonaventure Rutinwa, says that they will continue to produce qualified students.
It is my fervent hope that our institute will continue to work hard and deliver good students who will be Chinese ambassadors in our nation's development, especially in industries. Also, CI can provide more scholarships for Tanzanian students to further study in China.
The winner of the competition, Aman Johole, argues young Tanzanians to learn Chinese language in order to be at a better position of attaining various job opportunities.
I would like to say I'm very happy because it is God bless, and Chinese people say, 世上无难事，只怕有心人. It means that if you do something by heart, nothing is difficult in the world.
The winner of the competition will represent Tanzania in the International Chinese Language Competition that will be held in China later this year. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Peter Mganga, TBC News.
The Aga Khan Secondary School Form 6 graduate students have innovated microforests which will be planted in small areas in towns and municipalities so as to reduce air pollution and preserve the environment. Speaking to TBC News in Dar es Salaam, students Grayson Mdeme and Bhavya Gantasala asked Tanzanians to apply the technology for a sustainable environment.
You know, living in the city is a good thing because you have employment opportunities and there's a better living standards. But as people, we're supposed to live in a fresh and clean environment. So as our class and as our school, from primary to secondary, we have tried our best to make this project. And we're trying to make it available for every member in our city. So we can all have an opportunity to live in a clean, natural environment, a green environment, as they say.
Then another successful project was the use of recycling the paper. So the waste paper from maybe worksheets or exam papers, old textbooks, we recycled them and we made better paper, and we used that for the Valentine's Day program that took place. So over here we've used like the best possible ways to recycle materials and also to like reduce the waste that has been produced in our school.
This batch is the first batch, those who have taken initiative, and they successfully completed all 3 big projects, and they passed on their learning to the next generation, like right now DP1 student. So this DP1 will graduate next year. So it's a cyclic process. So how this DP2 current graduating student, they passed on their knowledge to the next generation, that is very that's the thing, you know, I feel great.
Now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Stay tuned for all the latest in international news. It's time now for international news as compiled and read by Nyambona Masamba.
International news start in Chad, where Mohamed Idris Deby has been sworn in as a president after he was declared the winner of election earlier this month. Deby was declared the interim president in 2021 after his long-ruling father was shot dead on the front line by rebels. He had made his election only after months of deadly nationwide protests. The ballot and results has widely criticized by the opposition and international rights groups. To East Africa, Kenya President William Ruto is in the U.S. as the two countries mark 60 years of diplomatic relations. His 3-day state visit is the first by an African leader to Washington, D.C. in more than 15 years. Ruto and President Joe Biden are due to discuss trade and security. Kenya has agreed to send thousands of police officers to Haiti as part of multinational mission to help to restore order after a month of gang violence. To Latin America, 9 people, including a child, have died in Mexico after a stage collapse at a presidential campaign rally. The Citizen Movement's party was holding an event in the state of Nuevo Leon on Wednesday night. The party said the gust of wind caused the stage to collapse. More than 50 people are injured. Mexico's weather services had warned of heavy rains and possible tornadoes in the region. To Europe, the French President Emmanuel Macron says dialogue is the way to resolve more than a week unrest in the New Caledonia. Macron has been meeting local leaders there following protests against changes to the voting system. A guard of honor welcomed the president to besiege French territory. After a week of protests, Emmanuel Macron said he was there to restore the crisis. It is an uncertain future that sees people taken to the streets, protesting against the proposed constitutional change. If approved by the Congress, it could allow French nationals who have lived in the New Caledonia at least 10 years to vote in elections. The indigenous Kamakas, who have lived long struggle for independence, say the change is real about colonization and minimizing their influence. And political parties in the UK are due to start campaigning a day after the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak held a surprise snap election. The vote will be held on July the 4th. Sunak says his policies has brought economic stability after a cost of living crisis, but opinion polls suggest his governing party could be facing defeat. Sunak has opted to go to polls month earlier than expected. The opposition Labour Party needed no encouragement later on lead in opinion polls of some 20 percentage points for month. Time Now said Keir Starmer for change. He said a vote for Labour is a vote for stability.
In sports news, Simba Sports Club Information and Communication Manager Ahmed Ali says the motive behind playing their Tanzania Premier League game against KMC at Sheikh Amri Abeid Stadium in Arusha is to give fans a chance to see their team. Manager Ali believes that support from Arusha fans will give players motivation and outshine their opponent KMC as they want 3 points to consolidate their second position in the league table.
The great strength of Simba comes from the power of the Arusha fans. So we decided to bring this game here so that we can get the strength of the Arusha fans needs your support so that we can win our game.
Simba has collected 63 points after playing 28 matches, and they sit in third place because of the goal differences with Azam FC, which played the same amount of matches and collected 63 points, which makes the second position very interesting to watch. In other sports news, the Aga Khan swimming team head coach Turi Bisius Mpeti believes his team will collect enough medals in the swimming national competition for secondary schools that will be held at the International School of Tanganyika IST in Dar es Salaam. Speaking to TBC in Dar es Salaam, coach Mpeti added that his team has made sufficient preparations and is ready to come out on top in the competition.
Swim team is one of the teams here. Our swim team is doing very well, and we expect good results for the next 2 days on Saturday and Sunday. I'm thinking they will win because they are doing enough practice. They are very good in training, very good, and we have won the last 2 matches. We have won as a school, as other kind of schools.
Helps the student to learn their subject well. The different aspects you can say. If a student they apply their skills in the classroom, they're learning suppose physics, and that physics learning they're applying their field. So that's called like learning in the class and action in the field. Or something action in the field, next day they're going to class, they're asking question to the teachers, oh yesterday I played this football, I was trying to dribble the ball, but the ball went the other way. Why it happened?
The football field that is there in the Mzizima campus, and we have also brought teachers that are qualified, and now there's a teacher who's doing PhD in sports as well. So you could see to what extent the school is taking sports seriously, and also we've been participating in international and national tournaments. Like I remember there's a student who participated in a swimming gala and represented Tanzania.
The school has like 3 volleyball courts, a football pitch, and a basketball court, and we participate in multiple inter-school competitions. So if you are really into sports and you know your child is really has a talent in sport, you can bring them to this school.
The national swimming competition involves secondary teams from mainland and Zanzibar. Now, before we wind up, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello viewers, this is Amina Saleh from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Welcome to 24 weather forecasting starting from tonight. The wind is expected to flow at the speed of 40 km per hour for the northern coast, and the state of the sea is expected to be rough. For the southern coast, the wind is expected to flow at the speed of 30 km per hour, and the state of the sea is expected to be moderate. For the major lakes, the wind is expected to flow at the speed of 30 km per hour, and the state of the lakes are expected to be moderate. Tanzania Meteorological Authority had issued an advisory of strong wind reaching 40 km per hour and large waves reaching 2 meters for the northern coast. Rainfall model indicating chance for precipitation over some parts of Lake Victoria Basin, northeastern Highland, and over the northern coast. And for tonight, the country is expected to feature partly cloudy conditions. And for tomorrow, parts of Lake Victoria Basin, which include Kagera and Mara, are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions, thunder showers over a few areas. Over the northern coast, which include the Tanga and islands of Unguja and Pemba, are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions, rain showers over a few areas, and sun period. And the same weather is expected over Arusha and Kilimanjaro regions. And the rest of the country are expected to feature partly cloudy conditions. Now let's have a look on 4 days weather forecasting. Meteorological Authority. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. I am Faithangaga. Good night.
TBC1, ukweli na uhakika.